Hello everyone. Today we will learn about a Masiha for the abandoned Sikh. It is actually a real unsung story of a Sikh named Gurmeet Singh who worked for the abandoned in Patna, and it is written by Sautik Vishwas who visited on that ward and meet those abandoned and Gurmeet Singh, and he has written his experience in the form of article. So let's see what is there in this. Are you in pain? This is the question Gurmeet Singh usually asks when he enters a government hospital ward in Patna. It is a damp and grubby facility with lime green walls and stained tiled floors. Half a dozen grannies for sick patients are scattered all over the ill-lit place. So the condition of the ward, okay, the moment this man enters, he always asks a question, are you in pain? Okay, so he want to know about the well-being of the patients. So he talked to them, he start his conversation like that only, that how are they, okay. And then this is the description of the ward, that it is in very worst condition. Okay, ill-lit, light is very dim, it is fetid, smells of urines are coming over there. Okay, uneaten food parts were just thrown over here and there, and the walls are like very dirty. Okay, the condition of the ward is very bad. When night falls, rats slink out of the defunct fireplace and scurry for food. Okay, during night time, rats were coming from here and there. They were just having some thrown out and scurry foods. Okay, the food dinner comprises rice, lentil soups, and some vegetable gruel is insipid. A doctor and a nurse came on their rounds a couple of times a day. Okay, they were getting not very good food. Okay, just rice, lentils, and also lentil soups. Every time they are getting that, and doctors and nurse they are visiting a couple of times a day. Okay, hardly they are visiting. At other times, the patients appear to be left to their fate, and rest of the time they were just left to the this ward in their fate. Okay, where they have to stay there with their fate, as this place has the appalling moniker of the ward for lavaris, for the abandoned. Why they have been left for their fate? Because they are abandoned or lavaris. They don't have any family. Okay, it treats patients who have no family or have been rejected by them. Okay, so this ward treats the patients or keep the patients who don't have any family, or either or if they have been just uh, they have been thrown out of the family, they have been just rejected by the family. Okay, so these type of peoples have been kept in this ward. When they recover, when they come out of their pain or recover from the illness, they have been either sent to the rehab homes, or they return get back to the streets from where they came. For its inmates, the ward can be their homes for months on end. For the streets, where they usually live and forage for food and shelter, can be a harsher place. Tonight, it appears nobody is hurting. So for its inmates, the people who are staying on that abandoned ward, it's like a home for them, as they were lying on the street also, like that only. Here at least they are getting a shelter or food, but it is similarly harsher for them as it was in street, because the condition is like that only. Tonight it appears nobody is hurting. Now, on a bed lies a young woman who has had her limbs amputated after she was hit by a train. Okay, now the writer is describing the patients, its inmates of the ward. He's talking about one lady who has been amputed, okay, whose limbs have been amputed. Amputed means cut down, cutted from his body, separated from her body. okay, separated from her body after she met with an train accident. Okay, she has been hit by some train, and from there she had been taken to this hospital, and her limbs had to be amputated. Okay, not only that, the nurse called her Manju. Okay, what's the name of this lady? The nurse called her Manju. We don't know what actually her name is, but the nurse called her Manju, and this lady is pregnant. Okay, she is also pregnant. The nurse called her Manju. Questions about her family, home, and the father of the baby draw a blank. Okay, nurse questioned her, and that uh, who is the father of the baby you are carrying in your womb? What about your family? From where did you came? Likewise, but she is just keep quiet, draw every questions in a blank. Okay, some nights ago they found her weeping on the cold floor after she was bitten by rats. Somebody told him that some days ago, okay, in one night she was just sitting on a corner of the floor and crying, weeping, because weeping, and the rats were just biting her. Okay, that means it maybe she is not in a proper, she may not have, her brain may not be working properly, or maybe she is not conscious. Okay, what is the problem? We don't know, and writer even didn't tell us about anything. Okay, she just remains blank. But when Singh enters the ward, her face lights up. But yes, she had that feeling that the moment Mr. Singh enters the ward, her face lights up and she smiles widely. In the bed opposite her, a bedraggled woman with wild hair and wearing a dirty green jacket over a torn cotton gown trembles all the time. Tonight she is holding a loaf of bread that the hospital gave in the morning. One night, other inmate says she fell off the bed and lay on the floor for a while. Narrator is telling uh, describing another patient. Okay, she is just she wore a bit ragged, toned jacket, green color jacket, and on a toned cotton gown. Okay, she had wore a very ragged, wet, toned gown. Her hair is scattered like wild. Okay, it's very wild. It gave a wild look. That means she is in a very poor condition, and she's trembling all the time, trembling, shaking all the time. Today she is just sitting with a loaf of bread which the hospital has provided her in the breakfast. Okay, the writer is telling that the inmates are saying that one day she was, because of this tremble, as she fell down from the bed. Okay, she was lying on the floor trembling for a while. Then somebody came and picked her up on the bed. Now the next patient, that is across the room, Tapan Bhattacharya is the another patient. 40 lies in a bed with his leg in traction. He says he landed up here with a broken femur after the auto rickshaw he was traveling in overturned. Can you find me a job? He asked. I have nobody and nowhere to go. So writer is telling another about the another patient. The name of the patient is Tapan Bhattacharya. He is conscious. He is stable. He talked. Okay, so this man said that how his leg has been just hang on traction, as he is telling that he came here with the broken femur. Okay, his femur bone got broken because we was traveling on some rickshaw, and the rickshaw got overturned. Because of that, he got his femur broken. Okay, and then he has been taken here. He is telling to the writer that, can you just find me a job, because I don't have any I don't have any place to live in, and I don't have no one to take care of him. So if I'll get job, I can manage things. So he asked it to the writer. Now come to the another patient. In another room across the ward, two patients, Sudhir Rai and Farhan. Okay, there are two patients who are appear to be lost in their own world. That means they are just lost in their own world. They are thinking and looking in a zero point, hoarding bread and fruits from breakfast and waiting for their next meal. Farhan became an amputee a fortnight ago after he was hit by a train near Patna. Okay, among both of them, Farhan is someone who became amputee because he was also hit by some train. Okay, and he has been taken here and he has to become amputee. Okay, and Sudhir Rai, he does not tell me what is wrong with him. Writer is saying I tried to find out what is wrong with him, but he does not tell him anything. He just lost in his own world. Okay, and there are no doctor or bed charts to check with. And writer is telling as no doctor is visiting here so that I can ask him or her that what's the problem of this man. Neither I can see any bed chart which is generally kept on the beds of the patients in which everything is mentioned. Okay, it is also not here because nobody is there to take care of them. Means no one is there to question to the authorities that why it is not there, why the room is not clean, why this so, because they are abandoned. There's a stream of pale blood and urine flowing on the floor under his bed. But as soon as Singh waddles into the ward, there's frisson of excitement among its inmates. Okay, that man is lying on the bed, the just stream of a wave of blood and urine is just flowing, but nothing uh, makes him move or react anything. He's just lost in his world. But the moment Mr. Singh enters into the ward, okay, everybody comes with there is a freshen of excitement came amongst his inmates, amongst the patients. Their weary faces light up, their dull faces, their crying faces, okay, painful faces lights up with the happiness. Some even manage to break into a smile. Some of them who are in pain or problems, but when they saw Mr. Singh, they managed to give a smile also. That means that happiness comes from their inner self. By day, Singh, a genial 60-year-old, works at the family-owned clothes shop in a bustling city market. By night, he is a veritable Messiah to the resident of this foul kingdom of disease and disability, tucked away in a corner of a vast 90-year-old, 1,760 bed state-run Patna Medical College and Hospital, one of the largest in Bihar. Okay, who is this man? This is a man, a 60-year-old man who in daytime run his own shop, own clothes shop. He has his own clothes shop. Okay, in the during daytime he run that shop, and in the evening he came here as a masiha for this foul kingdom, this foul kingdom of this patients. For them, he is a king, and he take care of them as if the king take care of his public. Okay, so he came there, and this is the story of a 90-year-old Patna Medical College and Hospital. Okay, which is considered as the largest in Bihar. It has 1,760 beds. For more than 20 years now, Singh has been visiting the abandoned patients ward every night with food and medicines. He hasn't been on a vacation or stepped out of Patna for the past 13 years. Okay, so this man is serving these people, this abandoned people, for more than 20 years. Continuously for more than 20 years, he is coming to this ward and feeding them, taking care of them. And for last 13 years, he have never taken a single vacation. Means he never took off from the day that today I will not go, and nothing has happened like that. Not only that, he didn't step out of Patna even. Okay, why? Because he says he cannot abandon the abandoned, because he said that I cannot abandon these people again to be abandoned as they found me found some relation with me, I could not leave them abandoned again. And with that thought only, he never ever even stepped out of Patna for last 13 years. The unfailing devotion to his patients is matched by Singh's unchanging routine. Okay, his routine is like a complete devotion. His devotion is unfailure for them, and his routine even is not his routine even is very common for every day. Okay, it's a common routine he followed. What is the routine? Around 9 every evening, he leaves his modest apartment. All his five brothers live on a floor in one of the city oldest high rise and heads to the hospital. He picks up some money to pay for medicines. The five brothers put away 10% of their monthly earnings in a donation box at their home to pay for Singh's patients that are not provided by the hospitals where treatment is free. On the way he stops on the way he stops at one of the many cheap hole in the wall eateries that dot Patna to 36, pick up with rotis, vegetables, salad, eggs and curds to feed to his patients. Okay, this is the routine of this man. Every night, sharp at 9, he came out of his house, take out some money, okay, and he's staying there with five brothers in every floor of their modest apartment. Okay, both his brothers, they kept 10% of their monthly income in a donation box for his patients treatment, which is actually supposed to be paid freely by the government, but they are not giving for certain treatment. Okay, so he just picked up money from there, and on his way he stopped in a eatery shop. He collect food for them, and then he moved to the hospital. Once Singh reaches the ward, he inquires about the patient's condition, playing at once nurse, doctor, provider, and kin. He goes through their prescriptions and pays for the more expensive medicines, tests, scans, and chemotherapy for cancer patients. So the moment he entered to the hospital, he inquired about them, okay, about patients, and what is he played the role of a nurse, of a doctor, of a provider, of a kin. And after knowing everything, he just pay for the expensive treatment which generally government hospital is not giving them, like like tests, okay, and not only that, very expensive treatment like chemotherapy and all, scanning, this all treatment. For this type of treatment he paid for them. Okay, and then not only that, he also donates a lot of blood. Okay, from himself he donate lots of blood for them. Then he takes out the, this is the first thing he did when he came to the hospital. Okay, then he takes out the shining steel plates and caringly serves the food. Tonight the menu is piping hot rotis, vegetables, curd, and a sweet. So after knowing everything, paying for the treatments and all, he just picked out the shining steel plates from his bag and started serving foods for them. The writer is telling that tonight, the day when this man has visited on that hospital, he said that tonight the menu is like a roti, vegetable, curd, and sweet. That is proper meal of the day. Okay, he serves food for them, and the gruel that the hospital provides for dinner is usually left uneaten. The things, the dinner which the hospital provides to the patients were just left uneaten because they know that they are going to have good meal this time. Okay, at night. In a bit, the patients are wolfing down their first proper meal of the day. Okay, so after serving food for them, they just pounce on that food, okay, like a wolf, as if as they are they are having their first proper meal of the day. All they need is some dignity and some care. He's telling they don't want anything else. They just want some care, some dignity, some respect that even government is not able to provide them. Okay, in the past 22 years that I have been coming here, nothing has improved in this ward. He's telling that I'm coming here for past 22 years and nothing has changed. Whatever the situation, whatever the situation was 22 years ago is the same today itself. Okay, maybe the government changed or anything changed, but nothing has changed with these people or this ward. Singh's involvement began 2 decades ago when a woman selling plastic bags turned up at his shop carrying a badly scalded boy in her arms. It was a hot day. I saw tears in her eyes. Then I saw her boy who had got burnt. I took them to the hospital and found that there was nobody to treat him. The doctors were on strike. The poor and the abandoned were worst affected. I was very angry. I decided to do something about it. So when the writer asked that how he started this service, he is telling that it was years ago when I was in my shop. I saw a lady carrying a small baby boy on her lap came in front of my shop. Okay, the boy was uh, hurt. Okay, boy was burnt, and there is tears on the lady's eyes. She's crying in this hot summer. Okay, then he decided to take her to the hospital because the boy was badly burnt. So he took them to this hospital, and he's telling when I took them to this hospital, I saw that there is nobody to treat him, to treat this boy, as the doctors, all doctors are in strike. That brings me anger. Okay, and he's telling only the poor and the abandoned were the worst affected, because those who have some money can manage some private treatment, private hospital treatment, but those who are abandoned and poor can't afford private treatment, so they are the worst affected persons. So he's telling that time only I decided that I'm going to do something about it. Authorities want to fit him for his work and have sent him letters of admiration, but the Good Samaritan prefers to shun the spotlight. Okay, sometimes authorities, that government and all, local government and all, they wanted to uh, highlight him, they wanted to bring him to their functions and appreciate him. They sent him the letter of admiration, but this good Samaritan, good man, don't want any spotlight. Okay, he's happy with what he is doing. Tonight he is busy feeding the result. He never gave importance to those people. Tonight also, okay, the night when this writer is with him on that ward, he's telling tonight also is busy feeding the disheveled woman, the woman who don't eat of her own. He is feeding that woman. He is having her first proper, the woman who is having her first proper meal of the day. Then he just let her sleep, tucked her under a blanket, okay, and then for the night, and then he's like a god. A sound comes from the ward. When he was doing all this work, a sound came from that word, that he is like a god. Comes a voice from the word as the diminutive sick man puts out the light and shut the door to keep the cold out. He will be back again tomorrow night. So Rajesh is telling he just tuck that woman on the blanket and just switch off the, okay, dimming the light, and this man went out of the ward, closed the door gently so that the cold air which is coming from outside should stop and they can take a sound sleep. Okay, when he went out, he will be back again tomorrow night. So that is his routine. Every night he's doing the same process. Okay, so this is about this man. A note is given As since then, Gurmeet Singh's work has been interrupted. Somewhat, he is unable to offer food to the patients currently after appearing this article online. The writer is telling that when this article about Gurmeet Singh appeared online, when it got viral, the process of this man has been forced to stop. Okay, the duty which he was performing was interrupted because the government, the system might came into question by the people that a person from outside need to feed the patients, but government is not doing. So maybe that reason he was interrupted. The superintendent of Patna Medical College and Hospital says patients should be offered food approved by doctors. So they give the reason that the food which he is bringing from outside is not good for them. They should not be given outside food. Whatever food is given to them should be approved by the doctors, and it is the hospital's duty to do this. And hospital sanctioned rupees 25,000 for this Lawaris ward so that patients are taken care of. Okay, so they stop him to come with the food. Okay, they stop him to come with the food to serve them, and they have sanctioned 25,000 per month for the patients for the food and fruit of this patient. Okay, after publishing of this article online, and they are offered good food and fruits, of course, but they have now, as the news got spread, they have started giving them good foods and fruits. Singh, however, continues to serve patients in the ward with medicines and care, but this man has not stopped his routine. Only changes is that he is not bringing food for them, but he is coming regularly, taking care of them. Okay, and taking not only taking care of them, he is providing money for the medicines, he's giving medicines and everything, bringing it for them and giving it to them. He is hopeful, he is very hopeful now also that he will find a way, he will find out some way where he again get a chance to serve food to these patients. So he become got bonded with those patience, that still he has hope that someday he will get a chance. He's going to get away when he had been permitted, when he will be permitted to serve these patients. Okay, that's all about Gurmeet Singh. Thank you all.